Sarah Everard, a 33-year-old manager, went missing in South London on 3rd of March 2021. She left a friend's house near Clapham Common at around 9 p.m. Sarah was never seen again after walking home. She spoke to her boyfriend on her mobile phone for about 15 minutes before she disappeared. They agreed to meet the next day and hung up. At 9:30 p.m., the Poinders Road doorbell was seen on CCTV. He was not heard from again, and it was not known if he had reached his home in Brixton Hill. On 6th of March, the Metropolitan Police were alerted to Everard's disappearance. Family and friends said it was unusual for Sarah to disappear so suddenly. On 8th of March, after a CCTV image was released, Sarah was seen with a police officer. The authorities officially opened an Amber Alert for Sarah. On 9th of March, a police officer named Wayne Couzens was taken into custody. Let's take a step back in time and see what exactly happened. On 3rd of March, Couzens finished a 12-hour shift in South London and abducted Sarah on her way home in a car he had hired 3 days earlier. Couzens was looking for a single woman. He had made plans for tonight, bought handcuffs and a headband. As luck would have it, he bumped into Sarah Everard. Noticing Sarah walking alone in the dark, he stopped her and identified himself as a police officer using his police badge. Using COVID restrictions, he pretended that he had to arrest her because she was outside. He then handcuffed her and put her in the back of the car. We know what happened later that night from CCTV, dashcam footage, and a couple who saw Couzens arrest Sarah. This allowed detectives to piece together the case. After taking Sarah for a ride, Couzens took her to his car where he raped her and then strangled her. Sarah died before 2:30 a.m. on 4th of March. This was based on CCTV footage showing Couzens buying a bottle of water and apple juice at a petrol station in Dover at that time. Her phone signaled near Ashford later in the morning at around 3 a.m. Sarah is believed to have hidden her body in an overturned fridge in the woods until she disposed of it. Some of her clothes and remains were found inside the fridge. Sarah's mobile phone had been crushed and thrown into the water, but the remains of her SIM card were later found in her car. The next morning, Couzens was seen buying coffee. A short time later, he was caught on camera buying a can of petrol at a petrol station in Dover. He intended to use the petrol to burn Sarah's lifeless body. While all this was happening, Couzens returned home and resumed his normal family routine as if nothing had happened. He went to work and pretended to come home. She made dental appointments for her children. On the 5th of March, witnesses reported seeing a fire in Hodeswood, Kent. It matched the spot where Couzens had burned Sarah's body. He didn't even stay to see what he had done to Sarah. He had left Sarah there and gone back to his own life. He was later caught on camera buying 2 large building bags to carry the remains to a nearby stream. The next day, Couzens sent an email to his superior saying that he could no longer work as a policeman. Couzens said that the stress of the pay dispute had made him decide to quit for the time being. He said in the email that he had made an appointment with his doctor for a checkup. Couzens was on 5 days leave at the time. On 7th of March, Couzens took his family for a walk in the woods where Sarah was found dead. He was playing with his children very close to the area where Sarah's body had been thrown into the water. He may have wanted to go back there to relive the murder. 2 days later, on 9th of March, Couzens was arrested on the basis of the CCTV footage. At the time of his arrest, he had deleted everything from his mobile phone. He was taken to the police station for questioning and shown a photograph of Sarah. Couzens claimed that he had never seen her, but he later recanted his statement and told a story about getting into trouble with an Eastern European gang that he had cheated. He claimed they wanted him to pay them back by kidnapping a girl for their human trafficking operation. He insisted that he had kidnapped Sarah and handed her over to them, but nothing more. He said the last time he saw her was when they put her in their car and drove away. He said he had done this because he was desperate to save his own family, fearing that the gang would harm them. The next day, Sarah's burnt body was found dumped by a stream in the forest. Because it was a burned body, dental records were sought to make an official identification. Meanwhile, Couzens' house and car were searched. Investigators found hairbands, an unused condom, a broken piece of Sarah's SIM card, 3 clear plastic gloves, a handcuff key, and a handmade knife. A blood stain matching Sarah's DNA was found on the front passenger seat of the car, and semen matching Couzens' DNA was found in the back seat. These findings prove that Wayne Couzens had lied in his testimony. When everything was revealed and explained to him during the interrogation, he pleaded guilty. He told Sarah Everard, one by one, what he had done. This was not normal behavior for a police officer. Sarah Everard's family were devastated when they learned that her body had been cremated. Throughout the trial, they repeated how a criminal had affected their lives. In court, all the family members spewed hatred towards Wayne Couzens. Couzens' lawyer told the court that his client hated himself and was ashamed. He said Couzens had no excuse and admitted that he deserved a severe punishment. He said Couzens' behavior was completely inexplicable, even to his friends and family, and that his client was deeply ashamed of it. The hearings did not last long. There was already a confession and a burned body. The judge sentenced Wayne Couzens to life imprisonment. After Couzens was sentenced to life imprisonment, several police groups spoke out against Couzens and expressed their disgust at his actions. The Mayor of London, Sadiq Khan, echoed these sentiments and pledged to do everything in his power to ensure that women and girls feel safe in London. Boris Johnson, the then Prime Minister, called on the public to help address the decline in confidence in the police. He said they had increased the number of women in the police and would continue to do so. Metropolitan Police Commissioner Cressida Dick apologized to the public, saying the incident was a disgrace to the force. Some details that emerged after the murder also showed that Wayne Couzens' behavior had been overlooked. 3 days before the incident, a police officer was reported to have made an inappropriate gesture in a fast food restaurant. However, no link to Couzens could be established at the time due to an ongoing investigation. A similar incident occurred in Kent in 2015. Again, Couzens was not identified as a suspect. However, a vehicle seen at the scene was identified. Whether it belonged to Couzens was not investigated. According to a report in the Guardian newspaper after his arrest, an examination of his phone showed that Couzens was among a group of police officers investigated for misogyny, racism, and homophobic behavior. Such details have also led to discussions about why someone like Wayne Couzens is still working as a police officer. Perhaps Sarah Everard would still be alive if such things were not covered up within the organization. Such weakness was criticized by everyone. As a result, a young woman lost her life in a very tragic way. It is also painful that people lose their lives at the hands of the police officers they trust the most.